Peace in the Middle East. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for being here. And ultimately, I truly appreciate you for raising your presence here on my channel. It's much needed, and I want it. So thank you for doing that much for me. Now here's something I can do for you. So, you know how, like, us lock heads, us lock nation, the lock study, lock, whatever. We're very courageous when it comes to our hair. Basically, like, I wanted to share what your locks will eventually look like, especially depending on what you started out with. Now, different methods come with different attributions. Because, like for example, if you started out with comb coils or finger coils, then depending on the size of your parts or separation will be how thin or thick your locks will turn out. Comb coils and finger coils are usually small, so you can expect your locks to be very thin in size. Now, when it starts to happen that it becomes too thin, that's when you need to combine. Now, if you like the thin look, you like the small look, the tiny locks, that's for you, But if you don't want them to break off and you don't think you can maintain the skinny locks, then I suggest that you combine at an early stage. Like this stage. I'm going on 4 months, month of April. It hasn't happened yet, but it will. We're speaking into existence. But 3 and some change months, right? That's when you really want to focus on whether or not you want to combine your locks. Because it's going to be a lot harder to combine your locks when they're mature. When it's in like the 8 months to a year, or even further. It's going to be much difficult to combine your locks because they're going to be thicker, they're going to be mature, they're going to be locked and loaded and intact and compacted with a bunch of hair. Now, a bunch of dead hair, which is basically what locks are, forming in your natural pattern. So when you don't have that much dead hair and it's basically just your new growth, and your dead hairs are at the end, in month 3, month 2, month 4, up until the mature stage, that is when combining your locks will be much easier. And your locks will be more thicker and ultimately more healthier. But that is kind of absurd, because healthy locks depend on you, not what you do. It depends on, like, your nutrition, your health, your immune system, what you're doing to your locks. Not necessarily combining the locks is a part of it, because you don't want your locks to be too thin. But that's not the only attribution that will do justice for the health of your locks. So you really have to take care of yourself to take care of your hair. Always remember, before you can take care of anything or anyone else, you have to take care of yourself. So now starting with 2-strand twists. 2-strand twists are a little bit thicker than comb coils. So as the hair grows out, the lock will be more thicker, more like a pencil, or more like a pencil thickness. Not a number 2 fat pencils like back in the day. The pencils now that are really thin, but not thin where it will break. You know what I'm saying. But again, letting your new growth grow out for an extensive amount of time, where you have comb coils or 2-strand twists, will also determine how thick your locks will be. So I'm saying this to say a lot of attributions to what you do and how you maintain your hair will determine how your hair will eventually look. But if you're just going for the traditional look, the traditional 2 strands, traditional comb coils, finger coils, whatever it may be, this is the standard of what it will look like. Comb coils are usually the tiniest. So you can expect your locks to be a little bit smaller than if you were to do 2-strand twists, which are a little bit thicker. Now, doing braids in your hair starting off, or interlocking your hair. Now, interlocking your hair also depends on the size, because as we know, sister locks are interlocked, but they're tinier, and that's just because the parts are very small. My hair is interlocked, my hair is braided, and as you can see, it's a lot more thicker in size. That's not only because I let my new growth grow out, but it's also because I started with bigger, thicker parts. Braiding your hair in general has to do a lot more hair than 2-strand twists. Of course, depending on who did it, how they did it, and what they use. But braiding your locks is normally thicker than 2-strand twists and comb coils combined, because braiding your hair takes 3 strands of hair rather than 2, which means there's a lot more hair going into its compact state than as if it was comb coils with 2-strand twists. Am I making sense here? Are you following along? Okay. So as your hair grows out, as you can see by exempling my hair started from braids and interlocking. It's gonna grow out to be a little bit more thicker and thick in general. I have combined some locks because, again, this is the stage when it's short, when it's and even if it's not short, because I know some people that have started their lock journey in medium-sized hair. So even if your hair is not short, but if you just started your locks maybe a month, 2, 3, 4, 5 months ago, it's still a good time to combine your locks to make them thicker. As you can see, a lot of my locks are combined. Like this one, let's see. This one, you see how thick that is? Let's see. Extremely thick and compact. Also, this one is the same thing. We have a couple more to example. That's a 2-headed dragon. Also, this one on the side. And if I turn around, hopefully it'll be in frame. Not in frame. You see, these two I combined, and so did these. But as you can see, the new growth, this one is almost like starting to combine. But as you can see, the new growth is becoming thicker because now the parts are larger. So when your parts are larger and you're doing a method that takes more hair to put into each strand of locks, or each, whoa, this dragonfly just ran into the screen. But when you're using more hair, larger parts to form a lock, your hair is going to be thicker. And that's just a no-brainer. It makes sense. You follow along your pattern and you will see the follow through. But again, if you're practicing locks that are very thin, comb coil like, or even 2-strand twists. 2-strand twists are the safe zone. Comb coils, you might want to be careful, because then you'll start to palm roll them. And as we know and seen in a lot of videos, palm rolling, just like interlocking, can be a very dangerous method. But especially palm rolling, because you're squeezing the hair together. You're squeezing your roots, which is also making it thin out. When you're interlocking, all you're doing, if you do it right, all you're doing is taking the roots and knotting it up. So knotting it, creating knots within a knot will make it become thicker. I hope that helped. I hope I didn't lose you anywhere in the process. If I did, just leave your comment down below of a question that you may have that I can present to you. If you have any more tips on how to make thick locks or how your locks will turn out, definitely leave a suggestion down below. Like this video if you like this type of content. If you definitely watched the before video where I also had on the same ambiance. And I will definitely see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe and stay safe, clean, wherever you are. But also, don't forget about love. Love yourself, love the people that you're around, so that we can provide a better, loving, safer world. Alright guys, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. Peace.